Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Creatrix here. I hope that this video is finding you very well. Okay, today I have a wonderful message, I guess kind of depending on where you stand on this position. Okay, but basically the message is the era of people connecting back to their spirit guides, okay, to their team members who are here to support them on this realm, right? It's coming back. That era has arrived and it's going to hit hard. It's going to hit hard for the people who were using monotheism to their advantage to keep the general population disassociated or disconnected from their spirit guides. And that is one of the main ways that the elites or the powers that be and all of that, how they are able to keep control over the population, is by convincing us that the voices in our mind, convincing us that the nudges, intuitive nudges, the feelings, the emotions, that our spiritual gifts that are unseen, unknown of, or untalked about. They're not unknown, but they're not disclosed, right? They're not talked about. We're not taught that these emotions and nudges and feelings and voices and all of the different ways that our gifts manifest are actually real, and that those entities and beings that are communicating with us are actually real and there to guide us on this realm. Right? The elites have been benefiting so much because they themselves know this secret. They themselves learned this from our ancient ancestors, the ones who were the most connected with their guides, right? They learned this secret on how to connect with their own guides, or how to amplify the communication between them and their gods. They not only learned it, but they fostered it, right? They passed this down from generation to generation, and that's how they keep wealth in their family. And that's fair. That is totally, completely fair, because on this earth realm, if you can keep it, maintain it, it's yours. Period. The rules of this game are built into the game. You can't break the rules. You can't break the laws. All right. So that if you can do anything that you can do in this game, you can do. Right. But of course, there's consequences to every action, whether the consequence is whether we deem it good or bad. Right. So these elites they've known, right? These people that are considered modern royalty, the one with the most resources, wealth, some of them have fame or like to be in the spotlight. Some of them don't. Some of them are unknown, right? But these people who maintain their wealth and seniority and dominance over the rest of the population, they very much so keep a close connection with their guides, right? While they teach us to demonize our guides, right? Through monotheism and religion. Okay, so monotheism is heading out. There's no place for monotheism anymore. Monotheism doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. It's not scientific. It's not spiritual. It doesn't make sense to revere or respect above all one particular being and disregard, and suppress any other being that is offering us help, right? That's why the concept of a demon or a devil is literally obscure. It's so obscure and mediocre, and it doesn't make any sense because it's a made-up concept that's literally being used to keep us away from our guides. And that energy is all changing because the people are starting to wake up. We're starting to listen to those voices. We're starting to listen to those nudges and saying, what is this? Like, is this part of me? Like, what am I listening to? Because for me personally, for a very long time, I had a voice in my head, but I thought I was talking to myself. I thought I would ask myself questions or talk to myself in my mind, right? And there would be a voice that would answer me. And I thought that voice was like another part of me, which our guides are. You can think of it that way, that our guides are part of us, yet separate at the same time, right? I got a reading, right? I got a reading from a man who is very well known in his craft. He's very psychic. He has many gifts. He's not just psychic, but he's pretty much an oracle. The gift has been passed down through his matrilineal or maternal side, right? And so so this guy, very well-known man, practicing the Yoruba faith, I believe. He practices Ifa. He did a reading for me, and this was before like I knew about myself too much, right? And he said, you know, that voice in your head, that's a real voice. That's not just you. He's like, talk to it. It talks back and it will guide you. And I was like, what? That is crazy, because I had noticed this voice, but I was so confused about it. I was like, there's like this voice that talks to me. I wonder what it is. And I was very passive about it. You know, I wasn't curious, and I didn't look more into it or didn't ask him. I just, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, why I was thinking that way, right? But when he brought it up, I was like, oh my God, I had been wondering about this thing recently, right? Recently, it was fresh in my mind. And so when he brought it up, my mind was blown. And so that really sparked my journey to getting to know my guides more, okay? And I did have an awakening before that, but it got more intense after that period, because now I realized I can talk back to them. I can communicate with them at any point in time. I don't have to be by my altar. I don't have to be doing some, you know, complicated, complex rituals in order to connect with them. I can connect with them at any moment, any time that I want to, right? In fact, I am constantly connected with them. And it's the same for you all as well watching. We are constantly connected to our spiritual guides. And all it takes is just us opening up to it. That's it, because it's always there. We just have to tap into it, right? And these elites, the ones that have been able to keep their position in society even longer than they should have at the expense of us, the general population, they know the wealth, okay? They know the value of tapping into their spirit guides. That's why they worship all of these deities such as like Moloch and Baal and all of these so-called demons, right? They're okay with us, you know, ideally, I feel like they wouldn't want us to know, but on a certain level, they're okay with us knowing that they do Satan worship, or they do rituals, you know, like the, what is it called? The Bohemian Grove secret society, you know, all these different secret societies. Us as a general population, especially the younger generation, we know that these secret societies do participate in worship of deities, right? I was going to say demons, right? That's what people think, is that these people worship demons or devils or whatever the case is. But in actuality, there are no demons or devils. They are just appeasing their guides. They're asking for guidance. They are worshiping them because they give them direction. Okay, they rig the game. These entities rig the game for them. Not really rig the game, but they set things up so that these people can continue winning, right? And because the elites are open to their help, they receive the help from these entities. And that doesn't make these entities bad, because there's always a deeper reason as to what these entities are using these people for. Like, trust and believe, these entities are operating on unconditional love, right? Like these demonized entities that the elites are worshiping, they do operate on unconditional love, and they're actually using the people, the elites, to be able to put the general population in a situation where we are forced to do better, okay? That's why, you know, you might be wondering why these elites are constantly suppressing us and oppressing us. That's because the energy of being challenged, the energy of having obstacles in your way, that's what creates a hero's journey, that we need those challenges and those obstacles, right? So these entities are actually using these elites to be able to set up roadblocks in the game, to create challenges in the game for us to be able to rise to the occasion. And yes, there are situations in which we fail to rise to the occasion. And is that the fault of these demons? No. This is the game. We're here to evolve, to learn. If we choose not to tap into our higher selves and move forward, if we instead allow ourselves to be stagnated by fear, things that are illusions, that aren't real, then that is our choice. And the point is to learn from those lessons and not succumb to them, right? But these elites are thinking that they are getting a one-up, a leg up. They're thinking that, they're benefiting from the relationship, from the offerings that they are giving these entities. But in actuality, these entities are waiting for the right moment to teach these elites a very good lesson. And they're currently learning the lesson. It's not some future lesson after they've hurt people and stuff. Like, these elites are going through it. Trust and believe, like, these elites that worship these deities, they are definitely, like, they're not in an energy where they are fulfilled, happy, where they're feeling righteous, right? Where they're feeling balanced, right? Because just because they have positions of power and money and control over certain systems and things, trust and believe, like, someone who doesn't have power at all and someone who doesn't have money at all can be way more fulfilled and happy, content in life than these elites. Okay, so these elites are actually struggling internally a lot. They're struggling to keep their power. They are miserable, right? They are miserable, and they are constantly avoiding the healing process. They will sacrifice the people around them, sacrifice strangers. They will do anything in their power to avoid the actual righteous path that they will eventually be forced down, right? So these people are miserable just to maintain the look of, just to maintain the facade of being in power and being wealthy and having resources. They will do some really low vibrational, yucky stuff. Okay, so don't let that fool you. Don't think that the grass is greener on the other side, okay? So enough about that. Really, I want to talk about our spirit guides and how they are coming online again, and monotheism is going down the drain, and that's how they're putting it to me, right? And no offense to anybody who believes in monotheism, but that practice is dying out because it's not working, and it's an illusion. It's an illusion from the get-go. It's always been an illusion, all right? There are many different entities on this realm that we can communicate with, that we can conjure to be able to help us in this game in a very righteous, very balanced way. You know what I'm saying? None of these entities, right, require from us blood sacrifices, or they don't require from us any type of sacrifice. The only thing that they require you to sacrifice is the old, healed version of yourself. And I don't care what entity you're talking about. Okay, I don't care if you're talking about Baron Samedi. I don't care if you're talking about the Orisha. I don't care if you're talking about the Norwegian or the Nordic pantheon, the Kemetic pantheon. None of these. I don't care if you're talking about demons. Okay, I don't care if you're talking about Lucifer. All these different so-called demons, that have specific names. None of these entities want us to sacrifice blood, or all these weird like stuff that even people in African traditional religions do. ATRs, like some babalawos and people, high priestesses, in certain places, they like to drain animals of their blood. They like to sacrifice animals. Like, that is completely unnecessary. And if a babalawo or somebody in one of those religions is practicing that way, and they feel that an entity is telling them to do that, that is not a reflection of the entity. The entity is trying to teach that person a lesson that person is not grasping, okay? And it's actually very much so a trickster energy. If you are willing to sacrifice animals and you're constantly doing that, you are racking up karma. You're racking up, you're vibrationally putting yourself in a deeper hole. All right. And that's what these entities are doing. They can be these entities can be tricksters, but never demons. Okay. Maybe they could be a trickster, but never demons. And the reason why that energy is watching whoever it is who's doing the animal sacrifice perform these rituals, right, is because they are like watching them dig themselves into a deeper hole to be able to teach them a lesson. They have a plan, right? And our guides work in very, very complex ways to be able to make lessons stick, right? And they use illusions, right? That the entity is not going to say, hey, I don't want you to, sacrifice this animal, which actually they will, right? But the person might not listen, right? And they might have inherited a belief from their family who might have been tricked into sacrificing animals in the past to sacrifice an animal in the present in their own life to be able to conjure a certain entity. And so the entity, even if it tells the person like, I don't want an animal, I don't want you to kill animals, the person will kill the animal anyway, thinking that that's how you do things. So in order to be able to really teach someone a lesson, especially someone who's resisting the lesson, they will use the illusion to their advantage. These entities will use illusions to their advantage to be able to teach us how we should behave, how a winner in this game will behave, right? How to tap into our true power, how to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, right? And trust me, the best version of yourself is not sacrificing animals. This is not a dig at ATRs. Love me. I'm African. I love my African people. I revere the pantheons that traditional African religions, tap into, right? I love the Orisha, the Lua, the Anunnaki, all of them, right? These entities don't need us to sacrifice animals, and in fact, it's having the opposite effect that you think is happening. You can still revere and have a connection with your ancestors and your guides without sacrificing an animal, without mutilating another being, another sentient being who was placed in this realm to be able to live out and carry on their own purpose, right? And you know what else I'm getting is that these trickster entities are watching these sangomas, the babalawos, these high priestesses in these traditional African religions. They're watching them sacrifice their own familiars. That's crazy. That's a very demonic thing to do. And I hate to use that word because I don't like the association with ATRs and demonic and demons, but it's a very low vibrational thing to sacrifice your own familiar. So with every animal you are sacrificing, you're choosing to kill for no reason, you are blocking your own destiny. You're blocking your own blessings, right? And it gets worse and worse, and you have to keep sacrificing. In their mind, they have to keep sacrificing these animals, and the entities are just watching them like I didn't ask for this. They don't ask for animal sacrifices or any type of sacrifice other than the old version of you, the unwilling to heal version of you, the bad habit version of you, right? So yeah, very interesting. And so our spirit guides are coming back online. And your spirit guides can consist of your ancestors. They can consist of familiar spirits that are attached to your bloodline that are there to help your bloodline succeed and win and move forward. Your spirit guides can be actual like deities or extraterrestrials that you've made a connection with even in past lives. Okay, so your spirit guides can be temporary or they can be permanent for the whole duration of your life here on Earth. So it varies a lot, but your spirit team is definitely going to change throughout your life. Some of them are going to be permanent. Some of them have different types of connections to you. But one thing is for sure, your spirit team is actually here to play the game with you. Like they are just as much a part of this game as you are. You are the physical representation. You are the physical player on this game. So you're the one who like makes things move and shake. Like physically, you are the one who makes the moves, right? Because you have the power to do that. You're on the earth realm. That's why you're in the avatar. All right. And what they do is they are supposed to guide you, help you, show you your path, help you learn your lessons. And these lessons are mainly surrounded by how to better communicate with them, how to better accept their guidance, how to move in the game to be successful, right? And of course, it's about evolution and growth and healing, but a lot of it is like, okay, you have a rejection wound, right? And because you have this rejection wound, when we block blessings, or when they don't block blessings, but when we block what you think is a blessing, you feel rejected and you shut down and you don't want to do anything else. So your guides are like, well, if we're trying to guide you and we block something from happening for you because something was going to happen to you if you had gone down that path, then you shut down completely because you get sad about rejection, or you have a deep-seated rejection wound, then how are we going to be able to communicate in this realm? Because I want to say like 90% of the communication that you're going to have with your spirit guides is extremely subtle. It's not going to be very loud because they want you to enjoy your presence on this realm. They want you to be at peace. So it's not going to be like a bunch of voices in your head like, no, do this, no, do that, go this way, go that way. It's not going to be like that. It's going to come from a very subtle place in your being to where you're just going to know where to go, how to go. Yes, are there gifts such as, I forgot the term for the clair, one of the clairs where you can clairaudience, I think, where you can hear literal voices, like as if you were hearing my voice right now. Like I have that gift, but they don't talk to me like that. It's mostly internal. It's very internal, and it's more through nudges. It's very soft nudges, and it's clear. It's very clear what I should do, especially now that I have practiced, toning down my anxiety, toning down my intrusive thoughts and stuff. Now, what I feel that I should do that comes from my guides is very clear. But because at first your guides will speak to you in a very gentle manner, opposed to your mind, which is very loud and like based on fear, right? It can get confused. It used to get really confusing for me, and it could be confusing for you, but the way that your guides will communicate with you is very subtle yet clear. I know that's paradoxical, but that's just the way that it is. And if you know, right? And the more you practice this, the more you'll understand what's coming from your guides and what is actually just an intrusive thought based off of fear, right? But in actuality, we are so protected to the point where even if we think that we're making a mistake, we are redirected by our guides back to where we're supposed to be. So literally, my guides tell me that you have so many options. You can go in any direction you want. All of them are going to lead you to your purpose, your destiny. There's no path that you can go down that will be wrong, right? And so a lot of us have to really deeply understand that and kind of let go. We have to surrender and release, right? And so our guides are so important in this game because they are literally leading us to where we need to go. But imagine if you're the type of person who is afraid of your guides and you just shut them down. You're thinking that everything is coming from this one specific entity because you are a monotheist and you subscribe to the Abrahamic religion, one of the Abrahamic religions. That becomes boring to your guides. Literally, that's how they explained it to me. They become bored when we don't tap into them because they want to play the game as well. They want to win as well. They want to feel like badasses with you as well. They want to open you up to the world of magic. And when you refuse, when you resist and stay in stagnant energy and don't take up your position as the hero in your life, it's really underwhelming for them. It's very underwhelming. I just get the energy of like boredom. Like they just get bored. And there's also such a thing as like people stealing your guides. People can steal your guides through witchcraft and stuff, or through enticing your guides to join their side because they're like, hey, I will be obedient. I will do what you tell me to do. Like, please help me do this. Like, because your guides want to work. They want to show you what they can do. Like, they want to achieve things. They want to succeed. They want to be winners as well. So when you don't tap in with your guides, they will always be there. They will always be tethered to you, right? They always have a connection to you, but they will get bored and kind of go to the side and just sit down and watch you live a boring life. Like, you know, if you want to work for the next 30 years of your life and then retire with a pension and then, you know, just sit there and not do anything and then just wait till you transition back to the spiritual realm, that's gonna hurt your guides like feelings. I mean, it doesn't hurt their feelings, but like, just imagine, like, that's so boring. Well, they want excitement, they want adventure as well. So there is such a thing where somebody can entice your guides to join their team because you're not doing shit and they are doing shit, and they will be obedient to your guides because they value your guides, you know? But as soon as you're ready to tap in with them, they're always going to come back to you. But in the meantime, they're just, you know, they'll be like, okay, well, let me work my magic in this person's life because they're actually going to use it. They're actually going to appreciate it, utilize it. You know, so there is such a thing as that. Just a really quick short story about how I realized, like, our guides are very dynamic beings, okay? All of the things that we can feel down here as people, and yeah, all of the emotions and stuff that we can feel here on the earth realm, they can also feel as well, right?